Oh, perfect. I think since we're live streaming, I can go ahead and share my
Hold
screen.
on. Yeah. Kelly, you good with that? I think she is, since we're live streaming now. Just a reminder that today's meeting is mostly going to be facility operators. So if you're not a facility operator, you don't have to stick around, but you can listen.
All right.
Let's see, do we have a quorum yet? 1, 2, 3. I think we're still waiting on a quorum.
Okay.
I thought I saw Laura on earlier.
I'm gonna grab one thing real quick. I'll be right back.
So far, I only see 3 board members.
Carrie, Carly, rather.
Felipe, Scott, and Carly.
I thought I saw Laura on earlier.
I haven't seen her. Galen is possibly going to be late, and I haven't seen Omar. Ryan's not going to be here today. And Tiffany may not be here.
Ooh. So so Kelly is no longer on the board, so that doesn't. So the quorum is maybe like what, 3 out of 6 or something, or
It leaves 8.
So
Since
5
we
out
added
of
Carly.
ah,
So 5 out of 8 is what we need. Here's Laura coming in now. 1, 2, 3. So with Laura, that gets 4. 1 more board member.
And Galen's not going to be here.
Galen said that she may be running late. She wasn't sure for totally positive. She also she may just watch it afterwards.
Huh.
So we need
Omar's.
Omar or Jeff.
Does somebody have their emails that they can send?
Here's Omar.
Okay, all right.
So now we've got our quorum.
perfect. So I can begin then, right?
Yes, I believe. Go ahead and get started.
All right. So, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Cultural and Tourism Promotions Advisory Board meeting. I'm Felipe, the chair of the board, calling this meeting to order for Wednesday, December 14th at 6:04 p.m. Chris, do you mind taking the roll for us?
Sure. Time is 6:04. Felipe Gonzalez, chair.
I'm here.
And Laura Tessler.
Present.
Okay. Scott Snyder.
Here.
Galen McAllister. I haven't seen her just yet. Then Ryan Gale is absent today. And then Omar Alvarado.
Here.
All right. And Wright.
Here.
And then Jeff Tiffany, if he's in, which I haven't seen. So we have 5 of 8.
All right. So our first order of business is to approve today's agenda and last meeting's minutes. So I motion to approve the agenda and the minutes. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you so much. Is there any discussion?
There is one notification we need to make, clarification or correction, I should say. Members absent during the November meeting was Jeff Tiffany, and he's not listed on there on the minutes, so we need to make that correction. But other than that, should be good to go.
So we can still approve them as they are with just that note that you mentioned, right?
Yep.
Perfect. All right. So all those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. All right. I'm going to skip that for just a moment. So next up is public testimony. So please raise your hand and Chris will call on you if there's anything you'd like to address the board on regarding any topics other than those appearing on the agenda. So let me know if you see anybody, Chris.
All right.
I'll pause for a few moments. All right. Next on the agenda, I saw that you had the typical year in there. So do you want to just kind of briefly go through this, Chris? Is that kind of the idea with having that in the agenda, or just to kind of have it there?
It's just kind of to have it there, just as a general reminder for board members and for those participating in the meetings each month, just to have an idea of where we're at in the cycle.
Perfect. All right. And this is part of the agenda packet. This is just a different format that just, I think, shows a little more clearly on the screen. So that is in the packet if you'd like to take a look at that here. All right. Did that. So now we are up to the action items. So we have the declaration of conflicts of interest. So this would be for anyone that would have to alert the board and other members that they have a conflict of interest regarding either one or maybe all of the applications. Mm-hmm. So at this moment, is there anyone that has a conflict of interest that they'd like to put on the record?
I do have a conflict of interest with SAA. So Salem Art Association. Although I am no longer president as of last night. Yay.
Congratulations.
Yes. Yes. Congratulations. Absolutely. Congratulations.
All right. Perfect.
So conflict of interest would be anyone that works for or has family members, immediate family members that work for any of the organizations that are applying for TOT grant funding. Or if you've done work for any of the organizations. So I think there may be one more individual that has a conflict of interest.
I might be that other individual.
Is that Carly Wright?
Yes, this is Carly Wright. I have a conflict of interest with the Elsinore and with Salem Multicultural Institute. And potentially also with Hallie Ford. And well, not at the time with art associations, but I think that's it.
I have a question. If you're a member of an organization, is that a conflict of interest? I don't think so, because that's not a pecuniary interest, is it? No.
So just being a member, or
it's not a pecuniary,
a fiduciary or financial?
Yeah, if it's not a pecuniary interest, I think it's okay, but I don't know. I mean, that's why I'm asking.
Yeah. I can double check with legal. Not totally positive. I mean, there's there's no direct, you're not working for them, you're not receiving a paycheck, you're not directing their work and stuff like that. You're just a participating member, supporting member.
Correct.
So it's very limited if there is any potential there.
So,
No, I just show up and eat their food.
so Carly's conflict is that she's helping with promotions, advertising, PR.
I work part-time for the Elsinore,
Okay.
so I'm an employee there, and I work on contract with Salem Multicultural. So, and then Hallie Ford's paid for ads and press play, so that's why I stepped back from that one.
Yeah, yep, that's best.
Okay.
Although press play is a not profit-making venture.
Correct. But it's still a venture in which you receive revenue from. Okay. Any other potential conflicts? Anyone else?
Yeah, hey all, this is Omar. Conflict of interest with Odyssey Collective. And I don't know what the name is under. It might be Alianza Poder, Hispanic Heritage, like outdoor event or something like that. I don't know what they actually put it in, but I work with that organization in my day job closely, and I referred them to here. So I would say that's the conflict of interest.
Okay. Yep. And so all that simply means is that these conflicts of interest, the board members that have those conflicts of interest will not be able to score or provide scoring for those applications. So as a way of avoiding that potential. So we'll have that list now, and we'll be able to move forward, and I'll try and make sure that keep you on those.
And then Chris, you'll follow up with anybody that's not currently on the meeting.
Yes.
Okay.
Galen has arrived.
Hey, Galen.
Hi, everybody. Sorry I'm late.
Of course. Hello.
We're right at the point where we're declaring any conflicts of interest for board members that have served on other organizations that are submitting applications for TOT grant funding. So if you have any conflict of interest with any of the applicants, please let us know what that is, so that way we can be sure not to receive scoring or count any scoring towards those applications for those organizations that your conflict of interest may be. Did you have any, Galen?
I do not.
Okay, good. I think from there, we're ready to go on to the next topic.
Perfect. So next up on the action items are reviewing the facility operator application. So I have slides for each part of the application, both the facility and the event and the CIP. So I figured it just has some screenshots and just a visual aid that we can kind of go through and, of course, ask any questions. So we are going to start with the Elsinore, though. So does anyone have any questions regarding any of the Elsinore's applications? And I'll pause for a moment. Chris, let me know if you see any hands go up. So I don't have any questions.
Is Sally on the, oh, there you are. Hi, Sally. Of course, it's super obvious how, and you explained it really well in your application, the challenges of managing an old building and things constantly happening. I was curious with your budget. I noticed that in years, you've had surpluses in years, probably because of the way HERF dollars or CARES money came through. Do you have a fund for capital improvements that you stock up each year, or how do you handle setting aside money for unexpected things happening?
We have an account where if we're making an ask for a specific item or repair, then the money that we receive is, goes into that account. We do not have a specific building fund at this point.
Mhm. Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
All right. They also have a CIP grant for the concessions and box office renovation. So I've got some more details here regarding that. So I'll again just kind of pause for a moment, let everyone read this and chime in if you have any questions.
Sally, is this something that you've had or a version of this? Well, I know we did something with the concessions area a year or two ago, correct? The pizza
The new
oven.
concessions area, we've added digital screens to that. I believe capital improvement requests have been submitted and approved twice before to TOT, but different things happened in the course of those years that caused us to reevaluate what was priority, and this always ended up going to the bottom of the list.
Oh.
And the budget is significantly higher in this request because it is a more extensive remodel, and nothing's getting cheaper as the years go by. So.
And Sally, for this one, you listed that you plan to ask Murdoch Charitable Trust for funding. Is there anyone else on your list to ask?
Not at this point, but we definitely would seek out more help if we're awarded the grant from you guys.
So 20,000 will not cover the total cost with your 10 and the proposed TOT 10?
No, I think the total budget is about $76,000.
Okay, I see.
A big portion is for custom cabinets because the space is so small.
Mm-hmm.
So many more questions?
I just wanted to say I really liked the story that you put in the your facility grant about Austin, the kid who got a job with you after coming to your first movie. So I like that.
He is so happy to have his first job. It's really amazing. It took 5 years, but he's just a great fit, and he takes so much pride in his work and loves to be a part of our team, and everybody else on the team loves watching him come in. So it's great all around.
Fantastic. All right, so next up here is Gilbert House Children's Museum. So again, I'll just pause and jump in if you have any questions. All right, they also have an event application for Halloween re-engineered. Fantastic pictures, by the way. Too bad I could only use one photo, but it was fun to look through all the events and all the different kind of mechanics that were kind of going on there. So I just really love this event. I think it's such a clever idea.
Thanks, Felipe.
And one question I had is, you talked a lot about how your reciprocal museum, I don't know what you call that, but when people can use their hometown membership at your museum, how does that work for events like this?
So we have begun charging for events And then on Halloween Re-Engineered, it's $5 for each child, regardless of membership status. We have one event coming up New Year's Eve where only our members get the discount, not the reciprocal partners.
I do think the reciprocal one, that was good that you mentioned it because it helps make your case for bringing out of town visitors. So that was really good to hear about.
Oh, thanks, Caitlin.
All right, and I'll just keep moving on, but if there's questions, just feel free to jump in and I'll flip backwards here. So the next up is a CIP project for the marketing accessible play area. So I've got a graphic here. You can see it on their website, so it might not be as visible, but I needed some kind of graphic element, so I grabbed something. All right, next up is Deepwood and the facility operator grant. They also have an event grant too. Right. Here's the event grant. All right, hearing no questions, gonna keep on rolling through. Got Haley Ford, Museum of Art. They have a facility operator grant.
On the Hallie Ford is, I don't see someone here from Hallie Ford. Oh, John's
I'm
there.
here.
Hey,
Hi.
John. Just on your budget, it looked like there was a big, and I hope I'm looking at the, yeah, in the operating budget from last year to this year, there was a big drop. Did you recategorize things or?
No, I mean, it really varies from year to year. We have a basic operating budget, but then we also have restricted funds and endowment funds that we use to supplement that. So in one particular year, we might have more expensive projects, so our budget goes up. Next year, we might have slightly less expensive projects, so it goes down.
I see.
So, it's very, I mean, it's very fluid. We've had swings from like, well, as you saw, 750,000 up to a little bit over $1 million, back down to 750,000. At the end of the day, we always end each year with a balanced budget. But yeah, it's all dictated really by exhibitions and programs and kind of the core services that we provide.
I see. All right. Thank you.
John, is the construction at the Capitol impacting your accessibility at all?
Well, I don't think so. I mean, pardon me, it's a pain in the derriere, but
yeah.
I mean, especially trying, because I drive in from West Salem and I drive, I guess it's south on Court Street, and those, the trucks, the construction workers' trucks stick out halfway into the lane I'm driving in. I've got to do a lot of, but no, I mean, I think, we've seen really good attendance. I think I mentioned, in our grant proposal last summer, we organized this exhibition of prints by an artist named David Roberts, and it was literally our highest attended summer exhibition ever, and that's compared to Dale Chihuly and psychedelic posters and fashions. So I don't really think it's having that much of an impact.
Good, yeah.
Fantastic. All right, moving along here. Now we've got Salem Art Association. They have both a facility operator grant and an event grant.
Matthew, you and I had talked, with Travel Salem, just looking at co-oping opportunities with like World Beat and things like that. Is that how does the 25,000 compare to last year?
Yeah, 25,000 will be an increase. We had roughly about 17.5.
Oh wow, it's huge
last year. But you're right. We've been meeting with Irene and have been working with World Beat with Kathleen on a separate event. And so one of the possibilities from this is sponsorship across our event at Art Fair, World Beat, and then this third event that we're working on with the Elsinore. So the collaboration is well on its way, and there may be an opportunity for us to cross promote World Beat with Art Fair. I'm getting a little ahead of myself because Kathleen and I haven't really figured out exactly how to do it, but that's part of what we're hoping to figure out in the spring.
Excellent.
I love the collaboration, and I talked to Kathleen a little bit about this. I also really admire, as a former fundraiser who did a lot of events, the way you guys are analyzing like the return on investment for all the work you do on events, and figuring out how to keep your staff working on your core things instead of doing events that might not always have the best ROI. One of the things I wanted to suggest, and this happened to me last summer, I left Salem during July, so I missed all these great events. And I wonder if there's a way to use that as a marketing thing for local people, like don't leave in July, and to do some cross promotion of, Hoopla is happening in Salem Art Fair, because the summer is our key time. And I know that's a deficit when we try to do the shoulder season promotion for out of town people, but for in-town people, that might be something to get everybody locally thinking about. Yeah, this is when we should be going to all these Salem events.
Yeah, it's a great idea. And it's along the lines of this kind of 2-for-1 that Kathleen and I have talked about. Imagine, promotions that say in June, you've got World Beat, the end of June, in middle of July, you've got Art Fair, buy tickets for one and get a ticket and did a discount for the other, or something like that. But both of these things are happening just a couple of weeks apart, just a few blocks apart.
Cool.
Yeah, great to hear.
Yeah, quickly wanted to say, I love outcome number 2. That's like to me an intentional and qualitative goal to actually try to get that representation of different types of artists and curators. Really love to see that. So just wanted to congratulate on that type of method, because I think like sometimes in that type of method or a goal, you really are more intentional on who you want to represent in some of these, right? And I think and vice versa as well, when thinking about who's going to attend your events, sometimes that gets reflected with who's presenting, who's curating, who's doing the art, right? So I love to see that. And I love to see how this turnout is going to be this year, Matthew. Thank you.
Thanks, Omar.
Matthew, I'd like to, Omar, I love to hear you say that. And, we just had a board meeting last night, and Matthew and talked with us about the pledge that we're going to make at SAA. And I wondered if Matthew could touch on that pledge a little bit, because I think that pledge is pretty monumental and we're all pretty dedicated towards that pledge. And Matthew, could you talk about that for just a bit? Because I think that's really important, and we're pretty strongly dedicated towards that. And I think that's really important for our DEI.
Yeah, thanks, Laura and Omar also. So Laura's referencing something called the Fair Art Pledge, and it's created by museums and galleries for museums and galleries. It's in response to the fact that the overwhelming percentage of pieces in permanent collections in museums around the country are by white men. And that's really decades after, there's been attention drawn to that. So the idea is very simple. It's twofold. One goal is around gender equity and the other is around racial and ethnic diversity. So the first is that all of your shows, overall, your shows will have 50% women and non-binary artists. And the second goal is that at least 40% of exhibiting artists will be people of color or indigenous artists. And it's called Fair Art 2030. And the idea is to give museums and galleries a chance to phase it in up until the year 2030. We think we made huge progress this year, and we think we're going to hit both goals fully in 2030. So thanks again, Omar, for flagging that, and Laura.
Awesome. It's fantastic. Galen, you got a question? Or no, you had celebration.
Just saying yay.
Perfect. All right. And I'll just put up their event grant for just a few moments in case there's questions. We've already discussed it, but figured it's here. Must take a look at things.
Just a quick question on the art fair, and this comes up in various people's application as we talk about inflation and raising prices. Do you fear at all that with raising prices you're going to lose customers, or is that a fine line to walk?
Yeah, we raised prices last year, but at the same time we made it free for anyone in the community using SNAP benefits, receiving SNAP benefits. We made it free for all foster care, foster families, now called resource families, and free for all of our members. So the idea was to, sort of ask folks who can pay a little bit more to pay a little bit more, and at the same time make it free for as many people as possible. I don't think that the price increase brought down attendance last year. I think there's still a little bit of pandemic hangover last year, and the fact that we hadn't done it in 3 years probably depressed attendance a little bit. But I'm hoping, and what we're hearing from folks, Galen, is that it's not an inhibitor for attending.
That's great.
I will say that, the inflation is real for all of our vendors. The cost of, food, the cost of fencing, security, all of those costs have really skyrocketed, some like 25, 30%. So I'm sure for all of the facility operators, but the cost of putting on events, probably for, it's the same as when you go out to dinner. There is a real increase in the expense side.
Absolutely. All right, keeping this moving. We got Salem's Riverfront Carousel. They have both an event and a facility operating grant.
So I have the same question on that one. I noticed that there's a surplus in the operating budget. Where do you put the surplus each year? Does that go into any sort of building fund?
I am filling in for Marie last minute. And unfortunately, I don't run the facility operation budget. I run more on the marketing and the event side. But I can get an answer for you from Marie on that one. And get back to you. No problem.
Thank you.
Yeah, but we are, I don't know if you're aware, but we have the Stables expansion project. So any additional funding usually is going to that right now.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that's our big, huge campaign over the next, 5 to 6 years. Yep.
Thanks.
All right, and here is Santa at the carousel. The really happy Santa. A great photo, by the way.
He is amazing. This is our first year working with him, and he's like, makes that expression with almost every photo. I wish I could show you all the photos from everything that's coming in with all the kids taking all their photos with Santa, and he does this. He's so photogenic in every single photo. It's pretty amazing.
I believe it.
Yeah, this is the first year over the last couple of years that we were able to get him to come and arrive right in front of the carousel on the train. So that's our Carousel Express event where we had probably like 300-ish people out greeting him, welcoming him into Salem. And previously he hasn't done anything like this before. Usually the stuff that he books is more private sessions, and so this was his first time seeing hundreds of people greet him to Salem, sitting on a train, coming in down on the tracks, and he was so perfect for it because he just ate it all up, and it was a very magical day, and it was so great to see us basically return to normal after the last couple of years. So that was pretty exciting.
Carrie, this is Scott. In 2020, when the event had to be kind of controlled, number of people and things like that, a lot of creative ideas came about to help you make a little bit more money. The price of the photos went up, different things like that. Are there things that you're still utilizing for this event that you learned about in 2020?
Definitely. In 2020, we only were able to keep Santa photos going. We didn't have any of our additional events. So we didn't have the arrival of Santa on the train. We didn't have our tea parties or breakfasts and any of that stuff. So we were solely doing Santa photos. And what we learned there was to really twofold is one, create a unique experience for every family coming in by offering them private booked sessions. So we leveraged Eventbrite to be able to schedule those sessions so people can get a private reservation as opposed to getting crowds of people coming in hoping to spend time with Santa. So we ended up now coming back into 22, even though, yes, we do have the capability to open up that and increase the crowds coming in. We decided that because the response from customers was so amazing with those private bookings, we decided to actually maintain that going into this year and most likely continuing that on forever, is to keep the private booking sessions, but still offering now walk-in availability dates where people don't need reservations. So they can kind of choose twofold. And I'm so glad that we decided to do that this year because all of our events, when I launched it on midnight of December 5th, every single event within hours, all sold out. We actually had to go back and add in a second round of dates for our tea parties. And that sold out within an hour of launching those additional dates. So we've seen amazing attendance and response by offering so much of what we're doing now virtually online where people can go book it from their home rather than coming down, checking in at the front counter, making the reservation by hand and doing all that kind of stuff. It's been, the response has been phenomenal, but we've learned a lot.
And do you keep track of no-shows? I mean, I'm in the hotel business, so I know about no-shows, but.
Yep, we have a pretty strict cancellation policy. So some of our events, they can cancel up to 7 days in advance and receive their refund. But if they get too close to that, there's no return on that. For private sessions of photos, that's just a fee that they book up front. They don't get that refund back.
Okay.
But yes, when they do come and check in for Santa photos, we have a registry. I do everything through Airtable as well. So they book on Eventbrite, push all the data into Airtable, and then we track all of that checking in through Airtable. And there we track and ask them, like, are you from in town? Are you from out of town? And actually about 10 to 15% or more than 50 miles away that they come in for these events.
That's awesome.
And then we also ask, like, if they, for their photos, if we can use their photo for social media marketing, all that kind of stuff. So yes, we track, and then also no shows. We have a little button there that shows that person had not participated or didn't show up for their activity. So yeah. And luckily, so far, we've had 2 first dates of our private sessions last weekend, and we had 1 no-show of I think it ended up being about 60 sessions.
That's excellent.
So, a phenomenal response and attendance.
Amazing.
Thank you.
No wonder the Santa's so happy. He must have felt like a rock star coming off that train.
Oh
Why.
my goodness. Yes, he did.
Perfect. All right. Let's keep this train moving then.
Thanks, guys.
So we got Salem Multicultural Institute, another facility operating grant, as well as an event grant.
I don't have a question. I just want to say I have this application was very well written and really described both the struggles you guys are going through and the solutions. And I really like the story of last year's the Kalapuya River Protocol. Nicely done to add that in to your as part of your programming.
Awesome. Thank you, Galen. And we have the World Beat Festival. All right, moving along, we got Willamette Art Center with a with an operating grant and an event grant.
I see, Sue. I thought it was great that you guys have grown so much that you are at capacity in your classes and have waiting lists. Do you have a strategy for adding classes, or how are you going to, or are you going to try to keep up with demand?
They're starting to utilize our the gallery that we had. We dismantled it and stopped selling pottery in there. And we're now starting to use it, extra room for like hand building or parties always, you know. But they've talked about adding a couple of wheels in there to people could go in and do wheel throwing. And we haven't brought back yet where we're doing 2 classes at a time, because we found that doing 1 class in our studio, there's a lot of people in there, and that way we don't have past people coming in that want to use the studio and interrupt classwork time. Yeah, so that's why we haven't added any more classes, but we're at capacity. We just released our winter classes on Monday morning, and they're almost all full.
Wow.
Yeah. So people are out. They want to do something. Yeah.
Right.
And we're getting ready to. The reason why Doug is not here is because he's doing a Family Clay Sunday meeting where we're going to start that back up in January, hopefully. So we're getting that all put together. So it'll be on Sunday.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I just love what I'm hearing. Everything is just so great and positive. Good news.
Yeah.
All right. And then we, of course, have Artisans Village. That's just making me hungry, though.
Hot.
Right. Moving along, Willamette Heritage Center with an operator grant, an event, and an improvement project. For the event, we have Magic at the Mill. Another beautiful photo.
Which I'm sure they're doing right now.
Yep.
Michelle is probably reading guests as she's on this call.
It starts Sunday.
Oh, okay. There's time. So, Michelle,
yeah, it actually starts Monday. Yes, but we are getting ready. Mm-hmm.
So you probably have the highest number of old buildings of any of the facility operators, the highest number of
Yes, yes, we do. And we have the largest grounds too, 6 acres, 15 buildings.
So obviously you're never going to get enough from our funding to support all that. What's
No.
your strategy for long-term taking care of maintenance on those old buildings?
Excellent question. We have some ideas in mind coming up. Right now we have an endowment, but it's very small. And so we're hoping to grow that. We get about 20,000 a year from that, which is barely scratching the surface of what we need. So we have some ideas. We have a few new board members this year that have some ideas up their sleeves. And so we're trying to constantly build that endowment and build that fund.
Mm-hmm.
So nothing solid right now, but yeah, it's like a big black hole. Never ending. I mean, you'd be shocked at how many HVAC systems we have. I never knew that any facility could own as many HVAC systems as we do. And you'd also be surprised at how long they last before they all break down.
Hopefully not the same day.
Well, unfortunately, that's been what's happening. About 30 years ago, they replaced a bunch of them and now they're all breaking down. And HVAC systems are not inexpensive.
Right. Well, hopefully, and I know you're super good at this, is looking at the large preservation grants, both with the state and nationally.
Yeah.
And then there's some Department of Energy grants coming down too that might help you specifically with switching over HVAC to more modern things. But it is a big
challenge. Yeah. It's a challenge to do anything too modern in our buildings. We're very restricted by historic preservation rules and, SHPO rules. And I mean, we've toyed with the idea of trying to put, I'm sorry, I'm not thinking of the word on the roofs,
solar.
Yeah, solar panels. And that would be next to impossible given our buildings. I mean, we've looked into different ideas and there's little things we can do here and there, but we have a lot of restrictions that we have to follow. So that's more challenges as well.
And you guys are on the national list or the state national?
We are national registry. And that is something that we are hoping to capitalize on more. I have some long-term goals without saying too much, but yeah, we're hoping to capitalize on that more.
Hi, Michelle. Omar here. I have a quick question on outcome number 2. So I see there, I want to focus on the bottom one, the Magic at the Mill one.
The operator grant.
Yeah, the Magic at the Mill one.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Yeah, Magic at the Mill. Yeah, no worry. Thank you so much. Yeah, question on the outcome number 2. So I see you want to foster an atmosphere of inclusion and diversity by focusing a minimum of 50% of marketing to reach underrepresented groups. Could you elaborate a little bit more, please, on how that marketing would look like and who would be collaborating with to reach such groups? I just want to know a little bit more about that, if you can, please.
Latinx radio stations. We have a few staff members that may be able to translate things into Spanish. We're working more closely with the school district and working with their community transition programs and the students there. And so reaching out to them more, looking at foster homes and inviting them. This year, we have a donor who has offered 45 tickets to Salem for refugees to come to Magic at the Mill. And so we're excited about having that group come. It's going to be free of charge because we have a donor underwriting all of their tickets. So there's a lot of different ways that we can do that. If that
okay, that works. Yeah, I definitely appreciate the working with like radio stations and different mass communications. That's always very helpful. as well as the translating too. I know that could be kind of a difficult task. Translating is definitely like a whole thing to do sometimes, but that's always very much appreciated from communities who speak different languages. So the effort is very much worth it. And if you all market it like the right way, like it sounds you're talking about, I'm sure you'll get a good outcome from these communities.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. All right. And they also had a CIP grant, so I'll put that on there. Speaking of repairs and replacements.
It's stunning to see the costs of this kind of work. As Matt was saying, everything's going up, so.
Yeah, and that, keep in mind, this is only about 1/5 of what we have to do to replace the walkways. We started it last spring. This is, we started a very small portion of it. This is we're taking it piece by piece. And this is only the walkways. We have 15 buildings that have to be addressed as well. So it's, yeah, it's very expensive.
All right, and I think that completes that. And before I turn it over to Chris, I just want to say that just what I've heard, and it's just been fantastic. I really love this city. I think we've got a great team here that is just doing a lot of great, fantastic work. So I really enjoy this stuff. So I just wanted to throw that out there before we move on to the fun stuff, which is all the data and the numbers, which I'm sure we all love. So Chris, do you want to use your screen share, or do you want to just use this? It's up to you.
Which got up is great.
Okay.
It looks like it's pretty well visible. So yeah, just kind of kicking off how the collections are going so far. Actually doing fairly decent in tax collection revenues. Year to date is $1.8 million worth of TOT collections coming in, and last year at this point was 1.7 million. So we're up $127,000 over last year, same time frame, which is about a 7% return. Of course, we're looking at hopefully that trend or that percentage amount will stay at the same or close to that amount as we go through the rest of the year. There are some headwinds ahead with the recession and other changes in tourism destinations and stuff like that that may be coming, that may be directly related to costs of going traveling and staying places. So we're cautiously optimistic that we'll be able to stay between 3 and 5% year over year in the black, basically. So as far as expenditures, things are going as planned. The nice thing is, if you look at the bottom line, we took in 1.8 million in revenues, and we've only spent just under 1.8. So we're still adding to the fund balance. So that's always a positive. That helps. Having a fund balance, a healthy fund balance, helps to save us in times of economic crisis or COVID, to be more specific. But other than that, everything seems to be going fairly well. We've made several payments to events and to facility operators as they turn in their reports after those events or on the quarterly time frame for the facility operators. And things seem to be going well. If you slide up to the next page, you can see the monthly receipts on a monthly basis. So the month of October, which is November, collected in November, was the latest one that was received. 362,000 versus last year almost 330,000. So about a 9%, 9.9% year over year, same month time frame view. And as you can see, kind of the projection there is just if we did the exact same collections as we did last year for each of those months, then we're looking at about a 3% year over year increase. So that's kind of a straight line projection and target goal kind of. Budget wise, we budgeted for just under 4.2 million, and we'll see how things play out over the next few months. Are there any questions?
Scott, what are you hearing with from the hoteliers? Are bookings doing well, better? Where are you?
Well, I keep track of primarily the next 4 to 6 weeks looking ahead, because beyond that, from a competitor standpoint, it's hard to really put a finger on what's going on. But looking at what my competitors here in Salem, they're must be very nervous about January, because they have not, they're very low priced right now, and I am not. And so we've got our new partner or new hotel coming in across the street, the Holman. They're targeted to open the middle of January. We're hoping that with having that additional 120 rooms, the convention center will be able to attract larger conferences that groups tend to like to be close or walking distance away from their venue rather than even driving the 3 or 4 miles to Market Street. So from a marketing standpoint, Travel Salem, the convention center are both using this as a huge opportunity for larger groups. The best thing about next year is that it appears that the legislature will be meeting in person. So that means all the constituents that want to visit their legislators shall be coming to Salem. They'll be staying in Salem. Just the legislators themselves will be in person. The folks that are trying to make their points are going to be coming and eating in restaurants and things like that. So there's I personally see a lot of positive things. I'm a realist. I understand that it's costed, gas seems to be kind of mellowing out right now, but obviously inflation is not something that you can just ignore. But just like you guys are explaining about the vendors' prices going up, it's costing me more for employees. The utilities, everything is going up. So we've got to try to be responsible and charge a fair rate and make sure that we're being responsible financially, but not to the point where we're putting off our guests and making it worth the experience, worth what we're charging is our focus. We're just really focusing on intangibles like service, making sure people feel very valued and appreciated. But there's a few hotels that are locally owned in Salem. A lot of them are managed by outside companies that don't have the same kind of relationship. I'm confident that the other locally owned operators are as conscientious as what we are.
Great, thanks for that, Scott. Appreciate it. Great update. All right, so now we've got a few reports. I've just got some slides and some of the imagery that I pulled from the reports, but I'd recommend reviewing the full reports, which are in the agenda packet. So I'll just scroll through this and I guess chime in if you have any questions or any comments. And I thought this was great, actually, having this data and these numbers here. So that's fantastic. Thank you. All right, I think that finishes the reports. There was a few facility operator grant reports, few events, no capital improvements. And now we have the Americans for the Arts survey. I've got the calendar there, which is probably hard to read, and it's actually not the full calendar. So Chris, is this available to people to review?
It's actually a great opportunity for us to reach out again and ask that organizations provide us with updates for the December, January, February months coming up, the events that they have planned, so that we can get these on here and share them with the rest of the organizations at these meetings. And also to remind folks that we still have a goal of getting 800 surveys completed for the Americans for Arts. And I think the latest count, we're at 355, through almost 6 months of that collection timeframe. So again, we want to encourage organizations to have their volunteers or ask for volunteers and help for getting those, collecting those surveys and getting those submitted to us at the city so that we can turn those in. All this information will benefit these organizations, and the fact that we'll have a report from the Americans for Arts showing what the economic impact is of the events that take place here in Salem. So I know that there's a couple more events coming up. I don't have any list right now of any volunteers that are going to be helping to collect those surveys. But we're looking for, if any of the board members are willing and able to do that, that would be very helpful. We were gung-ho at the very beginning, and now we've kind of slowed down a little bit, and understandably so. So it's time to kick ourselves back into gear again. So
Need that nudge. Can you send that that back out to us, because I know I need to sign up for a couple. I haven't done it for a while. And what's our last date that we can collect them?
it's going to be April 30th.
Okay, so yeah, we do have to hustle because
So
it's 50 per event is the max, right?
50 per event. Yep. Michelle, I see your hands up. You have a question?
Yeah, I was just going to remind everybody that with Magic at the Mill, we're expecting about 1,000 people a night next week, Monday through Friday. So I think it's probably low-hanging fruit. If someone's willing to come out, I think it would be an easy ask to get 50 surveys done. So just saying, if anybody wants to do that, I can coordinate with you, dropping off the surveys and where to pick them up and all that. So just let me know.
And Michelle, do you have any staff or volunteers there that are going to be?
No, no, we are really struggling with getting volunteers for this event ourselves. We need to have about 55 volunteers a night times 5. and we are about 20 volunteers short each night right now. So we are scraping the barrel for just making the event happen. So I'm not going to be able to offer anything for this survey. But hey, if anybody wants to volunteer at Magic just at the event, we could use your help also. I'll throw that plug in. So unfortunately, we can't help with doing the surveys, but I am able to coordinate. And we are about surveys for each night right now. So we are scraping the barrel for just making the event happen. I don't know why that's repeating myself. To offer.
Let me see whose mic is on.
I think it stopped though.
Okay, I think we're good.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. Wow, 1,000 people a night.
So yeah, that sounds like it's an excellent opportunity to collect some surveys next week. So board members or other organizations that would like to help out with that, we can try and coordinate that. Reach out to myself and Kelly, and we'll see what night works best for getting 1 or 2 people out there.
Sure. Matthew, got your hand up? Go ahead.
I was just going to say that, Michelle, we can, if you have some information, blast to our volunteers or call for volunteers, if that's helpful for you.
Thank you very much, Matthew. I will do that. Maybe I could, yeah, I'll definitely send it out to the facility operators for sure. Thank you.
Fantastic. All right. Next up is a roundtable discussion. So this would be for anyone who wants to address the board and share upcoming events, although we've kind of done most of that already. So go ahead and raise your hand if you have anything you'd like to discuss.
This would be the time where organizations can tell us about upcoming events and how things are going.
Do you want to go? I mean, the roundtable part, I guess. Do you want to go through and just call people?
Sure, I don't mind doing the Hollywood Squares organizations. The first one I see up is Matthew Bolle from the Salem Art Association. What's happening in the next couple of weeks?
Well, thanks. I just wanted to start by saying this was a really great meeting, and thank you all. It feels like there's such a positive vibe, and so I appreciate that. We have holiday season, and the sales gallery is open. We've got a terrific show right now by Bonnie Hall, who's a longtime Salem artist. But then I'll flag for you on January 13th, an opening night reception for a really extraordinary show, a hat show by Willie Richardson, who's a longtime advocate here in town, founder of Oregon Black Pioneers. We were having lunch last summer, and she told me about her hats, and I said, well, how many hats do you have? And she sort of said, I don't know, maybe 300 or 400. And I said, well, let's do it. So this is just gorgeous hats, and she talks about what it means for her to wear the hat. So there's sort of a meaning behind dressing formally. So that's February 13th.
Awesome. Let's see. Next up on the Hollywood Squares, I have Michelle Cordova from Hollywood Heritage.
Yeah, I mean, just, all things magic. I don't have much more else to add. Sorry.
Oh, that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
It's a great event, and it's coming up right around the corner next Monday, starting next Monday, all next week. Don't miss it. All right. Next up is John Olbrantz from Holly Ford Museum of Art.
There's see, it's Wednesday, so we've got Thursday, Friday. We've got 3 more days left for you to see Transformations, the George and Colleen Hoyt collection of contemporary Northwest Coast indigenous art. This is a major exhibition, major collection. George and Colleen have been collecting this material since the early 1980s and have gifted it to the Hallie Ford Museum of Art. It is arguably the finest private collection of its kind in the United States. And they gifted a large portion of it to us this year, and the balance will come in January. So our collection has grown by about 750 objects, which is very exciting. Right after the first of the year, actually end of January, we're opening an exhibit of work by a Portland painter, Rita Robillard. It's called Rita Robillard, Time and Place. Rita taught for many, many years at Portland State University and Washington State University in Pullman, and is a major Northwest printmaker. So that opens January 21st. Earlier in January, we're opening an exhibition called Hidden Histories, which is an exhibition of ancient art from the Fred Newman collection. Fred is a really interesting character. He was born in Germany in 1930. His father was a Nazi army officer who was involved in attempting to assassinate Adolf Hitler. He got caught and was assassinated before his family. Fred grew up in post-World War II Germany, hating the Nazis, hating Germany. He went to school there, but when he graduated, he immigrated to the United States and became an executive with TWA. And he spent many, many years in the Middle East, where he amassed a major collection of about 250 objects of ancient art. And Fred is now in his 90s. He lives in Brookings, Oregon. And a couple of years ago, he made the donation of his collection to the Halley Ford. So we're going to be showing his collection beginning January 2nd up in the Study Gallery and Print Study Center. So a lot of good stuff happening at the museum. We also recently received a pretty significant endowment gift. So I feel blessed about that. So, thank you.
Great, thanks, John. Next up, I have Yvonne from Deepwood.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for your efforts.
Oh, you went muted.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Thanks for your efforts with the grants. We certainly appreciate your work. We've had a lot of going on at Deepwood during the holiday time. We had a really successful holiday open house. In 3 hours, we had 515 people pass through the house, which, if you know Deepwood very well, it's hardly even seems feasible that happened. But it was very exciting to see the interest that people had in coming out. We moved Santa into the front parlor for the first time instead of having him off the porch area. The idea there was that it would draw more of the families into the house that may have just come to the solarium, because we want them to experience the house as well and then be inspired to come back and do a full tour sometime. They do see the whole house. It's just we also want them to come back and learn more about the history behind it. We also have had our holiday teas going on. Last Sunday and Monday, we served 2 back-to-back teas on Sunday and 2 on Monday for seating over 100 people. Had a lot of volunteers involved helping us out with that, and great enthusiasm from people about having the teas going strong again. The traffic was local as well as from outside of more than an hour away coming in just for the teas. So that's always rewarding to see. We also have more teas going on this coming Sunday. If you haven't seen Deepwood yet for the holidays, please come see us. We will be open the next few days, and then we'll be open 2 days Christmas week and then 2 days during the week of New Year's. And then we're actually keeping the holiday decorations up the first couple of weeks of January to give people a chance to come who were too busy during the holiday season. But it's a great thing to come and do if you have people from out of town, or if you need to get your visitors from out of town away for a little bit, send them to go have an experience somewhere. Keep Deepwood in mind. Thank you.
Thanks, Yvonne. Let's see, next up on our Hollywood Squares, Sue Carnish from Willamette Arts Center.
What, you want me to say something?
This is an opportunity for organizations to share what upcoming events they have going on, and how things went with let's see, your big event usually is the Empty Bowls.
Oh, Empty Bowls. Oh, that was a big success. We had, I don't remember all the figures, the numbers, but we had the wood turners there doing their thing, and the wood carvers joined us. We took over the whole Cascade building instead of just a portion of it, and we had it filled. Did extremely well on that, and we're just gearing up for classes now.
Cool. Hopefully we'll get the family play Sundays back too.
Yes, we are. Yes.
Well, thank you. All right, let's see. Next up, I believe, is Kathleen Fish from Salem Multicultural Institute. Kathleen, can you hear us? I see you there, but I can't hear you. All right. I guess we'll come back to Kathleen later if she's able to get some auditory stuff going. Next up would be Irene Bernards from Travel Salem. What's happening?
Nothing to report, just taking lots of notes. Thank you.
Okay. How about Beth Navu from Kalia of the Valley?
I'm just listening in tonight, mostly since we're not actually presenting. I appreciate everybody's comments. Our Kalia of the Valley is doing end of the year things right now in terms of tallying numbers and budgets and all of that thing. We're looking forward to a St. Patrick's Day. We do a small little parade, the littlest St. Patrick's Day parade probably in the United States, where we go around Riverfront Park. That's probably the next thing in March of a, event, if you will. We always have our monthly Kayleys on the second Friday of the month, and anybody is welcome to come. Live music, always fun. And dance classes continue. We'll start them up again in January. We're taking Tuesday the 20th and Tuesday the 27th off. So that's it for me.
That was on the second Tuesdays of the month? Was that?
The second Tuesday, the Tuesdays are dance classes. We just are not having any now until January. We're taking Tuesdays off. The second Friday of every month is our live Kaylee Moore, and they're held at the VFW Hall.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Good to know. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Carly, right? Did you want to talk anything about press play?
Why, thank you. We did not put out a print issue because of the cost of paper at the moment, but we've been pushing stories online at our website, pressplaysalem.com, and we're looking forward to a print issue for January, February, hopefully, because paper is supposed to go down in price, but we shall see. We will keep publishing stuff definitely online. So anyone who's got stuff happening January, February, we want to hear about it. Let us know. Thanks so much, Chris.
All right. I think that's everyone that's attending tonight. Kathleen, is your microphone working or not? You can also type comments in the chat.
I texted Kathleen, this is Carly, and she said her mic isn't working and now her audio is dead. So I will tell people there's an exhibit at the Worldly right now and actually there talks about holiday traditions in Slovakia and the Czech Republic. And then January, there will be a new exhibit coming up about Spain. That's what I know about them.
Great. Well,
things to look forward to.
Awesome. Well, I believe that's everybody, unless there's something that the board members would like to share.
I'm good.
All right.
All right. So next is the parking lot, which I'm not even sure if this parking lot is correct, but this is the last thing we had on there. So I know January they were kind of maybe discussing going to in-person meetings. Is there anything new on that, Chris, that you can report?
That is, it's sounding like that's January is when City Council is planning on going to a hybrid meeting back in person for the first time. So that is something that we're trying to get confirmation on for the boards and commission meetings. It sounds like we may have a venue that may be able to start meeting back at the library Anderson rooms. They do have the ability to have a video camera in there. So we're looking at trying to get that as an option for the January meeting. I will let you know more as we get closer to that date.
Fair enough. All right.
And then the in-person meetings, rotating cultural sites. We'll probably change that just because of the way the meeting laws are currently. It may just be a tour, and we may just see about booking some tours with no meeting.
All right, sounds good. Thanks for that.
So,
So,
Felipe,
yes, go ahead.
sorry to slow you down. The one thing I think I asked about it, I don't remember if it was last meeting or the one before, is we had thought we were going to hear from the new director of the amphitheater project, just to hear how things are going and what their ROI is.
So they are scheduled for January.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Along with Travel Salem for their annual reports.
Thank you.
They are busy. Perfect. So anyone else have any comments before we finish for the night? Pause for a moment.
Dramatic effect.
We're adjourned. All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.